so much for all the hard work you do and the dedication to Prince of Animation Club. It is so fun, and thank you so much.
You're a very nice and kind person.
Ready?
Okay. Hi, Ms. Vaughn. Thank you for being a great history teacher, and you just made class really fun. And your accents were great. The British ones, the German ones, or whatever. You're just a really good teacher and a great history teacher. Thank you.
The reason I like Ms. Vaughn is because she's amazing. She always got me on task. It was awesome. I love the little voices she did, and she's just a great teacher overall.
My favorite things about Ms. Vaughn is that she's very encouraging, very motivated, very enthusiastic when she teaches, and she's just not a basic teacher, so yeah, I love her.
Hey Rams, this is Carlos.
And I'm Katie.
And we'd like to welcome you to our new video series that we're going to talk about anything and everything teacher related.
And with this being so new, we're looking for names for the series. So if you want to comment with your ideas below, we thought of titles like, is it Friday yet? Is it fall break yet? Or is it May 26th yet? So let us know some different ones that you think would be cool.
All right, and like I said, this is something that we're going to try to do once a month where we discuss real topics and experiences about educators. And we're just, again, open to suggestions with it being so new. If you want to comment stuff, if you want us to talk about different things, just let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys want to talk about so we can, just talk about things you're interested in. So for this week, though, our topic is going to be about teacher stress and how to try to cope with that. The article we read on Edutopia was great. If you guys haven't checked out Edutopia, please do. We'll probably actually put a link to the article below in this description so you guys can check it out. But yeah, they're super helpful. The one thing that I thought was really interesting was some of the physical things that happen to us as we deal with the trauma that our students deal with. So that like a third of children deal with trauma at home. So 1 in every 3 kids we have.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting.
And then just got to remember, as educators, like we're human too. Like we're going to deal with our own trauma. So not only are we dealing with our own trauma, but we take on the trauma from students. And as just being nurture or carers, like we just want to take on whatever they bring to us.
Yeah, because we want to be there to support them, but then what do we do to support ourselves is the thing that's the crazy part.
Exactly.
And the one thing that I thought was interesting too was in the article it talked about how we have real physical responses. Like your brain is emitting a fear response, which seems crazy. So we can't control that our cortisol is jumping up, that our adrenaline's going crazy, your blood pressure's going up. Like that just seems pretty wild to me that even though we're not experiencing that trauma ourselves, that we're still reacting to it like it is happening to us.
Yeah. And again, like us just being the people that we are, like we're going to take it on because we wear so many hats as teachers. Like not only the teacher, we're maybe the mother or the father, and everything that we do to help our kids, because we do treat them sometimes like they're our kids, we don't realize we're taking on all that stress, all that extra stress and trauma. So we just got to be alert to that.
Yeah.
And again, that's what the article is stating, just different things to just be aware of.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's also interesting too is that it manifests itself in different ways where it's like, okay, maybe teachers are showing up like late to work, it said, or maybe they're missing meetings or they're avoiding certain students, which is kind of relatable in a way of like, yeah, why would you put yourself through that trauma if you know you could avoid it? And so things like that happen, maybe in a more like subconscious way, not like an overt way, like I am having this happen, so I know that this is going to this is how I'm going to behave. But it's just, I just thought that was really fascinating. And I think it just makes me want to be more mindful of giving each other grace through the process, because we're all dealing with things differently.
So one of the things that the article also talked about was as teachers, as professionals, one of the things that we can't do is like isolate ourselves. It's super critical because again, we put on this hat of we can do it, we're teachers, this is just what we do, but in order to truly get help, you can't isolate yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Right, and I think that's with anything, right? Like if you're going through something, finding a way to get support, whether that's through family, friends, whatever the case may be, it's super important. And I think it's hard outside of our job to get people to understand what we really go through.
Right.
Too. So we have each other. We have friends on campus or people that we're close to, and they can kind of be a little bit of a support system for us too.
Right.
Because they relate.
Right.
So
Right, we have to. The other thing it talked about is how we sometimes as teachers, we feel like we're teacher bots, it said. Like we're just walking around where we can't really show our emotions. But again, even this year, I've just noticed a couple of my close teacher friends where it's like, hey, how are you doing? Like not just, hey, how's it going? But like,
Right.
no, how are you really doing?
Yeah.
Because you can tell when someone is going through stuff. And again, it's just like, it seems like common sense, but we just got to think about it sometimes. Like we can't do this on our own.
yeah, 100%. And it's genuine care for each other.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you have to get deep with every person on campus and be
Right.
like, how are you doing? Like
Yeah.
you've got people that you're close to, and so why not use the people that you already enjoy spending time with to just have those check-ins and make sure that they are really good, and that if they do need to vent or, get something out of their system, that you can kind of be there to support them and vice versa.
Right. Another thing that I found interesting was like scheduling. I mean, not always just for like test season, because obviously like when we go talk about test season, that's a whole beast.
Yeah.
But just like throughout the day, if you notice that you have to maybe go sub for somebody, or this is happening, or you're taking on a new topic or whatever, like identify that stuff beforehand. And just tell yourself, all right, during 5th hour, I know this is going to be pretty heavy, so I just got to prepare myself and mentally prepare yourself. So just like writing things down is just something that I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we don't give ourselves the time to prepare like that. I think, I don't know, we're so busy with
Yeah.
everything that we do. We're coaching, we're club sponsors, and then that's just what we do at school, right? And then we're thinking we got all these tabs open in our own brain. And so finding time to just, give yourself a moment of like, where am I going to be emotionally in my day based on what I have ahead of me?
Right.
And how do I kind of mentally prepare myself for that? Which
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done that. Like, at least, I don't know. Now it's something I need to try at
Well,
least. So,
yeah, and that's why I thought it was interesting, because same thing. It's like when we start, it's just like anything, right? Over the summer, we're like, I want to try this, I want to try that.
Yeah.
But then once school season starts, it's like we just go, we're just running.
yeah,
So that was something that I thought was really interesting, because again, I don't do that myself.
right.
But I mean, we got to probably try it.
Yeah, for sure.
Something that you also talked about, like, is trying to create clear boundaries, right? Like what I know this is a struggle sometimes, and maybe it's new teachers, maybe it's veteran teachers, it doesn't really matter. But like one of the things that we've talked about before is like when 3:30 hits, like, should you be taking stuff home? Should you not be taking stuff home? Should you feel guilty if you don't take stuff
Yeah.
home? And to me, it's like at a young age, I was taking stuff home. But then as I started going more and more, I realized I'm not really completing this stuff because I have a family.
Yep.
So it's like, how do we set clear boundaries where there's no judgment, and we're not really judging each other based on what are you doing at home versus what you're not.
Yeah, and I think it's a person by person basis, and I hope people don't feel pressure to be that person that has to stay super late. Like, you
Right.
just have to do what's best for you, and there shouldn't be judgment either way, right? Like,
Right.
if you are a person that's out here, you come, you do your job, everything like that, that's fine.
Right.
You don't have to, be a martyr for this profession.
Right.
And I think sometimes things can get toxic like that sometimes, where we do burn out. And I think that's why we've had a lot of teachers leave the profession, because they do go so hard and they give it their all, and then that's it. They gave everything,
Right.
and they're done.
Yeah.
And for us to stay in this profession, I think we do have to be mindful of what works best for us,
Exactly.
and honoring that, and I don't know, just showing support for each other and respecting each other for what we choose to do.
Right, and like you said, on both ends. If you choose to take your stuff home and be that person where you're the first one here, last one to leave,
Yep.
that's great.
Right.
But then it's that balance, right? Like, you don't want to be the last one here and the first one to leave. So it's, it's again, just what works for you. I mean, we're all professionals. We want to try to, be mindful of that. But also we have to have boundaries as far as separating work life and separating our home life.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think we've talked about it too. Like, what is my process on the way home? Of like, am I gonna process my day or reflect on my day in a specific way to try to help me have that separation? Do you do anything like that specifically, or?
So like one of the things in the article it talked about, which for me, I drive 45 minutes each way. So
Yeah.
I have that time. But some of the things that you don't really think about are like, as you're driving home, maybe for some of us, it's just literally sitting in silence, right? Like that's your way of just decompressing. Maybe for some of us, we have to talk to someone on the way home.
Yeah.
Maybe it's listening to music, right?
Yeah.
Listening to your favorite station. But we make so many decisions on a daily basis that sometimes that drive home to like home or from work, from home is like the only time that we have to just be ourselves and just
Yeah.
to just chill and relax.
Totally.
So that's just one of the things that, just to think about, again, little things that maybe we already do, but we don't think about.
Right.
But like, again, for someone like me, I have that time where I'm just gonna sit and drive and just listen to my music and then start just processing what just happened.
Yeah.
And then always just self-reflect.
Exactly.
Oh.
On the way to school, do you like pump yourself up? Are you like listening to good music? Because that's what I do. I'm like jamming and like coming into the parking lot hot with my
Yeah.
radio up super loud.
Yeah. And then you have to like put it down because there's somebody right next to
I
you.
know.
You're like, uh-oh.
I know. I like a parent's next to me and I'm like bumping 101.1.
Oh yeah. 101.1, of course.
Yeah, but that makes me feel good like going into the day.
Yeah.
So I have like my method going in, but now I've got to like have that going out time, like
Right.
that reflection
Right.
piece on the way out.
You gotta
so.
you gotta remember it's both ways.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, it's easy to get overwhelmed. What's the article said, right? Of
Yeah.
being a teacher. So we have to have that balance.
Yeah.
So it's just the balance of teaching, the balance of getting out and talking to people, the balance of decompressing. Like we just have to be aware of that and just how can we just decompress and know that we're not just teacher bots, right?
Yeah,
At
exactly.
the end of the day.
Yeah, we're human
Right.
and we deal with humans and
Mhm.
being a human can be hard sometimes and
Yeah.
we just have to acknowledge that and then hopefully try to do some good things to help ourselves not, get too stressed out.
Right.
So,
The number one thing that we can do is take care of ourselves. And that I feel like because we're such givers,
Yeah.
we forget to, we can just take a step back and just pamper ourselves with anything,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have to be a spa day. It can just be, again, sitting in silence. It can be, you know what, I'm going to go get a Starbucks today or
Yeah.
whatever, like just take care of yourself because we take on so much that we don't realize
yeah.
that we have to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think sometimes we give, but we're so good about giving to others, but we don't give to ourselves.
Right.
And what does that look like for
Yeah.
everybody? Of like, how am I going to make myself feel better sometimes, especially if I've had a crappy day? Like,
Mhm.
how do we find positive ways to cope with that?
Right.
So yeah, I think that's super important. All right.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of it for the article, and I mean, just again dealing with taking on that trauma. How do we respond to it? How can we balance our work life and our home life?
Yeah.
I mean, what else?
I mean,
to summarize.
I think the best way that I could put it is that with teacher stress, one, the guilt thing of like feeling guilty that we have to do so much and
Yeah.
hopefully making us feel like, all right, we can take a step back.
Yeah.
And knowing yourself, I think, is the most important part.
Right.
Because like you said, we all have different situations. Like you have a full-blown family and kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't, but we can still deal with stress in the same way,
Right.
even though we have different circumstances.
Exactly.
So I just feel like the grace and being less judgmental about how other people deal with the situation is important too, because it's not a competition.
Right.
We're all here because we want to help kids
Mm-hmm.
and we care about them, and it shouldn't have to be a contest.
Right.
So I think that that's important too. For
Yeah.
Sure.
And just remember again, just take care of yourself in any way possible.
Yeah, and if
And-
you guys have suggestions of
Right.
things that you do,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear it in the comments. So let us know. What are some things that you do to take care of yourself?
Yeah.
Even if it's something small like Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
Like
Or
that's-
101.1.
Yeah,
you
or
know, like,
101.1.
Bumping music. I mean, I know
That's me.
that technically helps both of us because
Yeah.
we have the same music taste.
We do have
so,
the
yeah.
same musical taste. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll have to like drop a playlist in here or
Yeah.
something one time. If you guys have suggestions for music or something, maybe we need to get some music on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know. We're open to ideas.
We'll play some music in the beginning and at the end.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. We'll see how
We
that
got to
goes.
see if we can. We got to see if it meets requirements for
Yeah.
school.
We'll edit.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe
We'll
get the edited version.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, you guys. So thank you for watching. Next, we have a little surprise for some of our support staff. So enjoy.
Thank you guys.
Bye. All right, we are here to surprise Nathan and Alex. If you didn't know, September is IT Professionals Month, and on every Tuesday they celebrate the day. So we've got some confetti cannons. We're gonna surprise them / scare them, and then we have cupcakes to thank them for all that they do for us. So let's go.
Let's go.
No, but really, we're doing this for like surprising people for different things that they do on campus. So we just wanted to thank you guys. We have some cupcakes for you, and we promise we'll clean up your desk now. So.
Oh my god.